So yesterday we were talking about operators and what we talked about arithmetic operators, right? So what points need to be remembered in arithmetic operators, right? So first is floor division and exponent operator and modular division. So in modular division, what will happen? It always returns remainder, and normal division. So this is very important, right? So in normal division, it always the return type is always float value. The return type is always float value. This is something important for your either written test or certification exams. Got it? So don't forget. So for division, it always returns negative, sorry, float value. So if you want it as integer value, then you need to use type conversion functions, correct? And where we use this floor division, any examples can you give? Floor division, it will be adjusted to nearest floor value. So every value will have two things, right? One is floor value, another is seal value. So where we can use this, we are using for to round figure kind of. So whenever you go to shopping and all, right, so you can see the bill rounded off to, correct? So if your bill is some 100.90 paisa something like that, so they'll round off to either seal value or floor value. Either they'll make it as 100 rupees or they'll make it as 101 rupees, correct? In such cases we can use this floor division. Yes, note down these points what we discussed yesterday. And last point, anything we can't divide by zero, we learned in our mathematics, right? Any number cannot be divided with zero. Just note down. We have seen these examples, right, yesterday? In case of division, always the return type is float, modular division and float division. So if both arguments are integer, then will result we will get integer. If anyone is float, then oh sorry. Here the second point is there is a typo actually. Just correct it. If one of the argument is float, then the result will be type float. Just rearrange this statement. Something wrong here. These things we know, right? So in our school days we have learned so how to divide numbers and all. So same thing applicable here also. And this is something very important again for your certifications. Okay, we can't divide any number by zero. We can't divide any number by zero, correct? So if you try to divide with zero, what we'll get is we will get error saying that zero division error, zero division error. Okay, let me show you. See, I'll take some a equal to some 10, and if I use a by 0, what will happen? It will throw saying that zero division error. We can't divide by anything. We can't divide by 0. Correct? Next. So same thing. We can't use normal division, floor division, and also modular division. Also, we can't use. Right? This is something important. So arithmetic operators on strings. So when we use plus operator between two numbers, right? So it will add. Whereas if you use plus operator on string, what it will do is it will concatenate. It will concatenate. Both the arguments must be of string type. Note down. I'll show you. Right, done, noted.
Yeah, done, sir.
Done, right? So let us see. So plus operator, we all know, right? We have already seen this. Plus operator on integers or numbers, right? Numerical data. What it will act as addition. Whereas plus operator on strings, plus operator on string, how it will be treated as, it will concatenate two strings. It will concatenate two strings. So in other programming, I think everyone you know some basics of C, right? So you might have done these exercises. Concatenate two strings, reverse string, all these exercises you might have done, correct? So there we have to write our own logic in order to concatenate a string, concatenate two strings. But in Python, it is pretty much simple and straightforward. So what we use, plus operator. So plus operator on integers or plus operator on digits, numerical data. It will act as addition operator. Whereas plus operator on strings, it will act as concatenation operator. So what we need to remember is, so if you are using plus operator, either both the arguments should be string or both the arguments should be numerical data. But you can't combine like this, because so either add two numbers or concatenate two strings. Don't try to use one operator as string, another as, so one operator as string, another as some numerical data, right? So this is how you will get in your certification exams. This is wrong. So you cannot use this way, plus operator. And whereas multiplication operator, so multiplication on numerical data we know, but how it act as strings, on strings. So on string, multiplication operator will be act as, it will return as repetition operator. The repetition operator. So repetition operator in the sense, it will repeat the same string how many number of times we say here. So I'm asking, print or use this string, repeat this string two times. So if you see here, Python and Python, so this is acting as repetition operator on string. So if I use same thing some 10 times, it will repeat the same string 10 times. Okay, but here what we need to remember, so what we are saying, use this string, repeat this string in any number of time, n number of times, 10 number of times. So how many number of times we are asking? 10 number of times repeat this string. Okay, at the same time, we should not use, if you want to use multiplication operator, right? So both should be either numerical data, or one should be string and another is numeric data, integer here basically, but not both are strings. So if you try to use both are strings, we can't do this. We can't do this. So what we need to remember, in plus operator, either both operands must be numeric data, integer or float or anything, right? Either integer or float, or integer integer, float float, any combination. And if you are trying to use strings, both must be string. When one cannot be integer, one cannot be string. So this is error. Whereas for multiplication operator, so one should be string, another should be integer, another should be integer. So you can't multiply two strings. You can't multiply two strings. So basic thing, right? We can't multiply any two strings, correct? So what do you want to achieve by multiplying two strings? Nothing, correct? We can't get anything out of this, right? So plus operator, what we need to remember, plus operator will behave differently. Plus operator and multiplication operator behave differently on numeric data and on strings. So anyway, again we are going to discuss when we are talking about strings. Okay, next. So assignment operators, maybe quickly take a photo
Sir,
of this. Yes, yes, go ahead.
yeah, sir, Shraddha here. One small doubt. I mean, uh, when there will be need, or if you can give a real time scenario wherein we
Hmm?
need to repeat that string, and we need to use this kind of operation.
In general, actually we don't need this repetition operator. Okay, so we don't have any kind of practical example or practical scenario to repeat our string. Okay, but how it acts on string is like, if you can multiply this string multiple times, means you can repeat it multiple times, but I don't see any practical scenario for this.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay?
Fine, no problem.
Yes, of course for concatenation definitely we need it. Yeah, maybe just take a picture of this. We are not going to discuss all these things, because if you see this, the rest everything here same. And I'm saying plus and equals to, right? So which is same as a is equals to a plus 10. So same rule applicable for all these operators. I don't think anything need to be shown, any example need to be given on this, correct? Again, we never use these kind of stuff in our day-to-day programming. Again, same thing for either interviews, means written test, or for your certification exams only. And whenever you are programming also, don't use these compound operators. So if you want to use plus and equal to, use as this only for readability purpose. It is not at all recommended to use these compound operators. So if you want to add a number, right, do the same way, a is equals to a plus 10 instead of plus and equals to, for readability purpose. Okay, next. So I was saying, right, throughout Python, operators is the boring concept. So we will discuss this operator in between when and all it is required. Okay, I'm not going to spend time on this, because this operators itself will take some 2 3 days, and you definitely real very bored of it. But now what and all I'll discuss is which are very important operators in Python. So yesterday we were saying, right, what are the important operators in Python? Out of all these things, ninth and 10th, identity operators and membership operators are very very important, because these two are regularly we use. Last one, membership operator, without membership operators we are not going to write our day-to-day programming. We are not going to do our day-to-day programming without membership operators. Okay, and ninth and 10th, identity operators and membership operators, both are some special operators in Python, right? And before we start this identity operator and membership operator, just want to tell, right? So let me repeat the same thing here. Yesterday what we discussed, so what is true and what is false in Python, what is zero in Python, what is non-zero in Python. So is this clear to everyone? or still you have any questions here? We have spent enough time on this, right? Yes, Navya, Madhavi, and Shraddha,
It is clear, sir.
clear,
Yeah,
right?
clear, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
yes. So, any relational operators means when we are comparing anything, right? So, what it will return? Either it will return true or false. Correct. So relational operators means some less than, greater than, less than or equals to, greater than or equals to, something like that, right? So if I say 10 less than 5, so what it will return? The return type is always, it will say either true or false. The return type on relational operators and comparison operators. So what is that? It is either true or false. The return type of relational operators is Boolean data type. Okay, so just remember this thing. Let's go to end. Yes, note down this: identity operators and membership operators. So identity operators are, there are two identity operators are there: is and is not. Returns true if both the operands points to the same object. Returns true if both the operands points to different object. So if you understand yesterday's session, this is easy for you. Let me know once you are noted down. Navyasri, are you following?
Yes, sir.
Shivani, this is your second session, is it?
Yeah, it's my second session.
Did you get the videos of previous session?
Uh, no, not yet.
Okay. Get it from admin people, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Done, noted. See, one more thing, don't take picture of all these things, okay? Try to note down. So if whenever it is required to take a picture, I'll tell you. Don't do that, okay? And as I said, try to keep these notes properly. Try to arrange these notes properly, okay? Because it is easy for you to refer. No need to refer so many books and all. Almost every point I'm trying to give here. Done. So can you understand anything here? What is and is not? So what I'm saying is returns true if both the operands are pointing to the same object. Same object. So object in the sense here address. Now tell me, you have to tell me, right? So here what I'm doing, some a equal to 10, some b equal to 10, c equal to 20, d equal to 20, and b equal to how many objects will be created here?
Two, sir.
Sir.
Only two objects will be created, correct? So here no doubt, right? Yes. So is and is not operator, right? So there are two things are there. One is comparison operators, right? So when I'm saying a equal to b, what it will be compared is, it will be comparing against the values. Is comparing against a equals to, yeah, one second, is and b is 20. So when I'm saying A equal to B, what it is doing? It is comparing against the values. So when I say B equal to C, it is saying true. At the same time, when I'm saying A is B, A is B, this is also saying as false. This is also saying as false. But if I use B is, what is we have? Yeah. C is D, it is saying true. So we have two kind of operations. So one is comparison operators. So comparison operators are equal to and not equal to. So we all know this, right? So comparison operators, when I'm saying 10 equal to 20, so it will say false. So whether both are same or not, we are asking. So that is what we will be getting with the help of this comparison operator. Equal to and not equals to, right? But what is the difference between this equal to and not equal to and is not? So yesterday we were talking about these things, right? So when we create an object here, a object 10 I created, object 20 I created, and A is pointing to this is 10 object, this is object 20, and who is pointing to this? Only A is pointing to this, A is referring, that's it, right? Yes, and B, C, D all are referring to 20 object. B, C, D all are referring to 20 object, object 20. B and C and D, right? So what is the address of A? How to check the address of A? ID of A. So this is some 656. The address of A is some XX 656. Next, address of B and address of C, address of D will be same, correct? Some 976, some XX 976. Okay, so when I'm using identity operators, is and is not. So what it will check is, it will check the address. It will check the address. So that means if I'm using B is C, what it is comparing? Comparing against the address, whether both are referring to same address or not. Same address or not. If I use normal equality operators. So when I'm saying A equal to B, what it will be comparing? So this is comparing as 10 equal to 20. 10 equal to 20 when I'm using equality operators. Okay, but when I'm using A is B, so how it will be comparing against address? So XX 656 equal to XX 976. Fix 976. So equal to is comparing against the values, and membership operators are comparing against the address. Comparing against the address, whether both are same or not. So here both values are same or not. Here both addresses are same or not. Understood this point? Identity operators. Yes.
Sir, do we have different address for single number
Different.
addresses? Like that we have only one address for one number, right, sir?
One address for one number. You are saying for 10 only one address is there, and 20 only one address is there. That's what you are saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, correct. Because Madhavi, are you there when we're talking about objects, object creation?
Yeah. I was not. I was there.
You was there. So in this case, when I'm saying a equal to 10 and b equal to 10 and c equal to 10, how many objects will be created here?
Only one.
Only one object will be created, correct? No doubt in that. So if I ask what is the address of a and address of b and address of c, all will be referring to the same object, correct?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So here what is your doubt?
Yeah. Clear, sir. Clear. Clear. Thank you.
Clear, right? Correct. This is something very, very important. That's why we had spent very good amount of almost a day we spent on this only, right? Yeah. So don't get confused. So in case of fundamental data types, object reusability there, right? Just go back and listen to again the session. Okay. They'll share the
Okay.
recordings. Yeah. So here all B, C, D are pointing to the same address. B, C, D are pointing to the same address, correct? So when I'm using identity operators, so that means we are comparing against the addresses, whether both addresses are same or not. When I'm using equal to operator, we are comparing against the values. We are comparing against the value. Both will return either true or false only. Both will return either true or false only. Here what it will return? A equal to B. This will return as false. And A is B. So this is also written, this is also will return as false, but the way it is operating is different. The way it is operating is different. Is and is not. It always compares against the address, not against the values. Not against the values. Is this statement clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Good. Now see here. A is B. So what it will return? It will true or false?
True.
True. A equal to B. Now it will return true or false?
True,
True,
sir.
sir.
Right? Because here in first case, what it is comparing against 656, xx656 is xx656 or not. So that's why it is returning as true. Here also it is returning as true, but it is comparing against the value. So that means it will be interpreted as how 10 equal to 10. So this will be interpreted as, so 656 is 656 or not. One is comparing against the address, another is comparing against the values. This is something very, very important. Okay. So we are going to see in somewhere around when we are talking about list and dictionary, right? Maybe after 15 sessions, right? Again, we will be coming back to this is and is not. What are the practical scenarios? And also in advanced Python, we will be using this is and is not. Okay. So for now, remember equality operators means equal to and not equal to and not equal to will compare against the values, whereas identity operators will compare against the address, okay. So same thing, so A is 10 and B also 10, right? A not equal to B else, so what it will return? It will return true or false? Not equal to operator, A not equal to B, this will return as
False.
false. That means it is comparing against the value. It is comparing against value. Whereas A is not B, I'll say. So here it will return false, but this is returning against what? This is comparing against the address, not on the value, right? So maybe let me show you this. Say list, how we represent list? Yesterday we were seeing, right? How we represent list? In which brackets?
Square brackets, brace.
Clear bracket. Yeah, so if you don't remember also, no need to worry. We have not at all discussed anything about it. So L1 is this, right? L2 is, right? So see, ID of L1 is some 368, ID of L2 is some 104. On list, only fundamental data types are applicable for object reusability, and advanced data types, this object reusability is not applicable. Okay, So if you see here, ID of L1 and ID of L2 is different. Now in this case, if I use L1 equal to L2, what it will return? It will return true, because both L1 and L2. So when I'm saying equal to, what it is comparing? Comparing against the values. Now if I use L1 is L2, what it will return now?
False.
Yes, it will return as false. Okay, so this is what very important. So you may not be observing the difference when you are talking about only fundamental data types, because object usability concept is there. But if you take the list example, right? So if I use equal to, it is returning as true because it is comparing against the address. It is comparing against the values. But even though both are same, L1 and L2 data is same, will have the different address. That means here how many objects created here? In this case, how many objects created?
2.
Yeah, exactly. So here two objects are created. So here, that is the reason if I use L1 is L2, what it is saying? It is false because it is comparing against the address. But if I say L1 is not L2, now what it will return?
True.
True, because it is not L2. Is and is not. I am asking the address, not value. So address means identity. So that's why we are calling it as identity operators. This is clear now, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, fine. Next, membership operators. So compared to identity operators, membership operators we use very regularly, right? And it is very simple and straightforward. Note it down, we'll discuss. If you read the description, you may not be understanding. Once I explain, and after that, if you read the description, then you feel very comfortable. In and not in. Don't get confused between membership operators and identity operators. Identity means address. Is not. In, not in. Let me know once you're done.
Yeah, done, sir.
Right? Yeah. Now see what we are saying, in and not in operator returns true if a sequence with specified value is present on in the object. Now we need to know what are sequenced data types. So sequenced data types are string, list, sorry, list, tuple, set, is a problem with my keyboard. Set tuple and dictionary range. These are the sequenced data types. So of course we have not at all discussed anything about any of these data types. Just no need to worry about this thing. Again and again, all these membership operators we are going to discuss in strings, in list, in tuple, in set, in dictionary, in range. So again and again we are going to discuss about membership operators. So no need to worry anything about these data types for now. But what we know is just we know how to represent a string and how to represent a list, right? So that is enough to discuss what is membership operators, right? Now, and if you take this integer, float, and fundamental data types are not sequenced data types. So what does it mean? Now let me take a string. So s equal to, right? So I'm learning Python. So this is my string. This is how I can represent a string. So this is no doubt, right? So how we represent string? Either in single quotes or double quotes, correct? So now what is membership operator? So I want to search. Okay. So see, returns true if a sequence with specified value is present in the object or not. So this is also a object, correct? So this is also a object, correct? Now I want to search for a substring here. Value in the sense, in case of string, substring. I want to search for a substring. I want to search this Python is present in S or not. So how can I search? So Python in S. That's it. So either it will return true or false. Now it will return true. Sequence. Why we are saying sequence? Because it starts from here and it will search till end. That means it will traverse. It will traverse when you are searching, right? It will traverse from start to end like this. Python virtual machine will search like this. Okay, sequenced data types. So list also a sequenced data types. So first it will start with first element, second element, third element, and so on. So in case of string, first character, second character, third character, and so on, like this. Okay, so now Python in S, what it will return? It will return as true, right? Next, if I say, right, so I'll just use some P in S, what it will return? Whether this P is present in this string or not.
Yeah, it will return true.
Is returning as, it will return as true, right? So in other programming languages, we need to write a very big program, big logic in order to search for a substring in main string. But in Python, just in a single line, you can get it, whether it is present or not. Just say it will return true or false, right? Next, I'll use space. Now what it will return?
True, sir.
True, because C is also present here, correct? Now I'll use some X. What it will return?
False.
It
Yes.
will return as false. So simple and pretty much useful, pretty much simple and pretty much straightforward. Now let's take this list also. Okay, so no need to worry what is list and all. Just for now, just remember the syntax. That's it. Okay. Now what I'll search is 1 in L1. What it will return? Whether this one is present in the list or not. Yes, it is present. So it will return as true. I'm searching whether this element is present here or not. Right? So now I'll use some 10. So now what it will return? It will return as false. Okay. So this is what membership operator, whether the substring is present or not, whether the given element is present or not, in the sequence data types only we can apply this. So maybe quickly I'll tell you what is the practical scenario. There are plenty of very very so much of requirement is there actually. So there are so many use cases are there in order to use this membership operator. So whenever you are working in a project, right, without this membership operators we may not be using we may not be writing any of the code. Just for practice purpose, practice the programs, you may not be using these membership operators. But when your application is used, definitely there is huge requirement of these membership operators. Maybe quickly I can tell you. Say you have some email ID. Okay, so I'll take some email equal to, right? So some okay. This is how our email looks like. Oh, sorry, what? Yeah, it is a string, right? Right, this is how any email will look like. So your username and at the rate symbol will be there, and also this domain name, either Gmail or Outlook or Yahoo, and also at the end this .com also will be there, .com or .co .in or .in, like that it will be there. Now I want to validate whether this given email is correct or not, right? Simply how can I validate? Huh? Very basic thing requirement is this at the rate symbol should be present. At the rate symbol should be present in the email, correct? So simply what I'll search is at the rate in email. What it will return? It will return true. That means my email ID is valid email address. My email address is valid email address, right? Now, not in if I use, it will say false. Now I want to use only gmail.com. Okay, I want to allow my users only if it is gmail.com, then only I will allow. Other people I don't want to allow, right? So at that time how can I search? So gmail.com in email, it's a true. If it is not present, then we don't allow them. Okay, so this is very very important and very very useful and very much straightforward. Membership operators in and not in, correct? So and we are saying it is applicable only on sequenced data types, right? Sequenced data types means where we can traverse, from beginning to end, where we can traverse from beginning to end. So if I take just an integer here, so can we traverse? This itself is a number. It no need to traverse from left to right or right to left. It's a single number, it is correct. Now if I use, right, so 10 in a, what it will return? It will return as it is not iterable. It is not iterable, right? So when we use membership operator, how it will work? It will iterate from starting to end. That means it starts searching from the first character, second character, third character, and so on. When we take integer or float, we can't traverse it because it is a single number. The characteristics of our fundamental data types are we can't iterate over them. We can iterate only on string, list, and other data types what we discussed. Anyway, again we are going to discuss again and again about these membership operators whenever we are discussing list, whenever we are discussing tuple, set, dictionary, and range data type. Okay, so this is about membership operator. And one another thing is, see, this is my string, right? So I'll search for this. What it is? What it is? This is what?
String.
String. But string, only string it is. What we can say it is? Yeah, it is a empty string. Empty string, correct? Now what do you think? What it will return?
True. True.
True.
Sorry. It's no. It will return false.
False. What about others? Same thing, right?
Yeah.
So we, yeah. So as per now what and all we learn, right? So what we are searching, I am searching for empty string in a string which is actually false. But this is some special scenario. What it will return is it will return as true. It will return as true because what they say is, maybe you can Google and you can get this. See, actually this is not our use case, or we may not be using this, but in any case, in anywhere, if you found this question either in the written test or in the certification exams, otherwise we don't use this. Okay, we don't search for a empty string in the string. Either we search only whether substring is present or not, we will search only that. but we don't search empty string in S. This is for only your exam purpose. Okay, so what they'll say is every string will contain an empty string. Every string will contain an empty string. So this is what I googled actually. I don't see what is the practical scenario or why they give it as true, why it is returning as true. So really I'm not sure. Maybe can you can you Google it and can you let me know the answer maybe tomorrow? Can you find out why this empty string in S membership operators on string? If we search for empty string, it is returning as true. Can you try this? Can you find an answer for this?
We'll try, sir. We'll Google it once.
Try it and let me know. But just remember, if we search for empty string, then it will return as true, not as false. Okay, just remember. So we are not going to use this anywhere, right? And membership operators are applicable only on what? Only on sequenced data types. Only on sequenced data type, not on fundamental data types like integer, float, and complex data types. So you can iterate over string, list, tuple, set, and dictionary. Right? So is this clear? In and not in, is not. These two operators are very, very important. So out of these two again, what we regularly use membership operators. So without membership operators, we are not going to build any of our application, bigger applications. For smaller examples, of course, we may not be using this membership operators, but this is very, very useful. Very, very useful. Say, for example, in the same list itself, say here I'm just having 1, 2, 3. But here, say we are maintaining some faculty information or student information, something like this. Okay. So whether or employee information. Okay. So any company will maintain their employee information, correct? So they want to search for some employee with some ID, employee ID number or employee name, whether that employee is present or not. Then simply how we can use. So if you are maintaining employee data in list, simply we can say for example, this 1, 2, 3 is employee IDs. Okay. So I'll search whether I want to search whether that particular employee is present in the office or not, or whether he is there with office or he resigned. Okay. Simply I can search 4 in L1. Say it will return false. Right, based on this maybe we can display saying that the data not found or employee is not part of our organization based on this true and false condition. Correct. There are n number of users are there for membership operators. So for identity operators, so we compare against address, but when compared to membership operators, we may not be using this identity operators that much. Okay, so here first point what you need to remember, difference between equal to, not equal to, and identity operators. Equal to and not equal to will compare against the values. Is and is not will compare against the address. In membership operators, what we need to remember, we need to remember that these operators applicable only on sequenced data types, because we need to traverse from left to right, because what we are doing, we are searching. So when we are searching, definitely we need to traverse from left to right, correct? So if you take integer, it's a single number, right? Integer means it's a whole, it's only one. When it is one, how we can search? So 10 in 10, does it make any sense? No, right? 1 in 1, no, right? So if I'm searching for a string, then it makes some sense. If I'm searching in a list, it makes some sense, because list is having multiple elements, string is having multiple characters, it's a sequence. Got it? Any questions?
No, sir.
Clear, right? So
Yeah.
for all these things, again, write a separate program for each and everything. Write down a program and run it. Okay. So tomorrow means Monday, we will be talking about input output operations. So in what and all ways we can read data from the user and how you can present your data to the user. If you remember C programming, printf and scanf is there, right? So similar to printf, scanf, what is there in Python? Okay. So we have function called print and input functions. So print is only one syntax is there, but for input function there are multiple syntaxes are there. We are going to cover all the syntaxes for input output statements Monday. Okay. So that's all for today. Any questions? Facing any difficulty when you are running your programs?
No.
No, right? Actually, you have not yet started any programming also. So from Monday onwards, we are going to start actual programming. Okay. So if
Okay.
no question, that's all for today. Bye.
Thank
Happy weekend.
Thank you,
you,
sir.
sir.